And this is going to be one of the most fun races to watch down the stretch here in the NFC West. The Rams, the red-hot Rams, and the Seahawks, who we know usually get better as the season goes on. So, Steve, let me start with you here, man. And which team here is primed to win the NFC West?
Yeah, I'm saying prime. Look, Seattle has already beaten them. But I think the Rams, by virtue of their schedule coming forth, I think they're in position to win this. I mean, now they do have a very tough stretch coming up towards the end where they've got Philadelphia, at Seattle, at Tennessee. That's going to be a brutal stretch, but the Rams are a good road team right now. We've seen they're 4-0 on the road thus far. So, and we haven't seen the best of their defense. Okay, so I still think they're going to continue to improve. So right now, I'm going to say the Rams, even though we know the Seahawks, their season.
Well, the last time I said that potential game could be a changing of the guard, Earl Thomas, who didn't play yesterday and would have been a deciding factor in that game, jumped all over me. So, listen, by virtue of they've already beat them, and by virtue of this has kind of been their division now since Pete Carroll's gotten there, I'm going to ride with the Seahawks. You look at yesterday's, I guess, game with the Redskins in a fishbowl. Earl changes that game, and there's 3 plays that literally, the last play to Dotson, that play doesn't happen if Earl's in the game.
Great point.
There's just so many different things that when this team's at full speed, the penalties.
Why does that play not happen?
Well, because the man plays center field as good as anyone we've seen since Ed Reed. And
Willie Mays.
I mean, Willie Mays, and I'm not even a baseball guy. But at the end of the day, he is an eraser. You know, Bam Bam's official. They've been kind of able to get over the loss of Cliff Averill. But what did the Redskins have yesterday? Did they even have 200 yards of offense?
They got 244.
You look at something and you say, oh, it's a loss, and the Redskins aren't very good. Well, you have to kind of dial it back and say, how'd the loss happen?
That's the kind of game the Seahawks usually pull out. And I was there the previous week. I missed the show here, but I was at that game in Seattle against the Texans. Epic comeback. The Seahawks, when all is said and done, not only are going to take control of this division, but I believe this conference.
Well, and the Rams, when you watch that Seattle game, there's a mental mind control that I think Seattle still has over the Rams. People's like, oh, it was all those turnovers. Who forced those turnovers?
The Rams have beaten them before, Heath. I mean, a lot of the guys on this team have been on those Rams teams.
When it matters.
Worse Rams
when
teams.
it matters.
It hasn't mattered for the Rams.
I think Russell will elevate, but get a guy who can make field goals. Blair Walsh missed 3.
This is also a Seahawks team in consecutive games at home. Nearly lost to the Texans. I know Deshaun Watson had a magnificent game, but then lose to the Redskins. And, you know,
we doubted them too many times before. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know. The Rams seem to be getting better week in and week out. So
it's gonna be fun.
And Heath, wrong. Steve, you're right.
Right on.
There you go. Way to work, man.